Watch. Change your whole routine and try this instead. Moisturize first. Then after moisturizing, take some translucent powder. I usually use the Fit Me one, and I just lightly dab it all over my face, not too much. Then take some setting spray. It could be any setting spray. I usually use the NYX one. After the setting spray, take a primer and just put your primer. Also, wait for the setting spray to dry first. Then just put on your foundation and just see what happens and how amazing your makeup is gonna look. And it's gonna stay on 24/7 and it's not gonna crease. It's a technique that's probably still used by so many other people. I heard that it's been used for like a long time, but I just found out about it. And honestly, look, I don't have the beauty filter on. Try it on you and let me know if it works.
Are you tired of tightlining only to have it transfer down onto the waterline and make a mess? Let me show you how to fix it. After you're done tightlining or putting liner in the waterline, take a super pinched flat brush. Something either with an angle like this, or even a flat top brush like this. Dip into a little translucent powder, tap off the excess, and take this translucent powder and set that eyeliner. Setting your liner with translucent powder will completely keep it from transferring down onto the waterline underneath, especially if you don't want any liner on the waterline. Even if you do, like I have, take that translucent powder and set that liner to take away the moisture and the creaminess of the pencil and finish it off with this powder. But if you don't want your translucent powder to take away the deep, dark punch of your black eyeliner, you can do this exact same hack with black eyeshadow. You guys are always asking me how to get smooth under eyes. The secret is what tool and what powder you set it with. Nothing is going to give you a more glass-like, smooth under eye, filling pores like a powder puff, 10 times more than a brush. The most beautiful setting powder for under the eyes and the face I have ever used is from Kimchi Chic Beauty. You're going to dip your powder puff into the powder. Then we're going to wipe the excess on our hands. I would, but I have other stuff there. And now that it's really in the puff, and I'm actually going to turn off a beauty light so you can see my texture more. I'm hoping you can see the texture I have on pores here. Taking our powder puff and pressing this into this area, even swiping to fill the pores. I always put this on my nose because I have huge pores on my nose. This also works beautiful for someone who has little fine lines or wrinkles, smile lines. Now look how smooth that under eye is. All of that texture is gone. This is before, and this is everything set. Let's talk about a word the beauty industry tends to avoid. Texture. Texture can be a multitude of things. Rough, bumpy skin, acne, pores, dry skin, small white bumps called milia, blackheads, even fine lines and wrinkles. Now, beauty lighting is a necessity, or you wouldn't be able to see what I'm doing. Even people who film on their phones are using lighting that illuminates everything so you can really see the products they're using. But let me show you what it doesn't always tend to accentuate. I'm wearing my favorite sheer skin tint from Wet n Wild. This is their tinted hydrator with a gripping primer from e.l.f. underneath, which I feel like looks truly invisible on my skin. Now, a technique to hide the texture a little bit more is to go in with a powder puff and a beautiful translucent powder like this Kimchi No Color Rice Powder, or the Kosas Air Cloud Powder, which will really fill the pores and texture before we go in with any other products like bronzer and blush. I posted a video the other day talking about how much I love the NYX Epic Smoke Liners for tight lining, and some of you had questions about where does tight lining go, what does it do, how to do it, so let's break it down. So tight lining isn't on the top of the eyelid. It's not between the lashes and the brow. It's under the eyelashes on the strip of skin just underneath the lashes up against the eye, similar to down here, which we call the waterline. What tight lining does is disguise that top strip of skin underneath your lashes, and especially with an eye look like this that I want to wear lashes but I don't have on top eyeliner to really disguise that lash band. When someone's looking at me head on, I don't want them to see that strip of skin underneath my lashes. So to show you the difference, this eye here has eyeliner on the tight line and this one doesn't. Do you see how it just makes the lashes look fuller and it will disguise the lash line a little bit better? Tight lining can be tricky for a beginner, especially sticking a whole pencil in your eye, but these Epic Smoke Liners, you can twist them up this far and they don't break, and these are by far the easiest pencils I have ever tight lined with because you're just putting the product up against that skin. The liner has just enough slip and opaque coverage to get it right on that tight line to make things look fuller, but I hope that helped help you understand tight lining a little bit more, make sure to follow me for more tips. If you're someone that needs an eyeshadow primer to really keep the oil control, keep it from creasing, and make the shadow stick, but also want coverage to cancel out redness like I do, let me show you something. I'm using the Milk Makeup Future Fluid Concealer and their Hydro Grip Eye Primer, and drumroll, mixing them together. Mixing a concealer and eyeshadow primer is a surefire way to get a color that works for your skin tone without hunting down an eyeshadow primer tinted that actually works for you, and you're getting the coverage to cancel out the redness and discoloration, but you're also getting the lasting power and gripping power of your eyeshadow primer. Blended out on the eye perfectly. It did not dilute the concealer too much, that I still got beautiful coverage. And as you can see from this eyeshadow look, my God, did these two products make my eyeshadow pack a punch. Here's a hack to highlight your T-zone without looking cakey. If you want to highlight the T-zone but feel like concealer is too heavy for you, go in with a lighter foundation instead of a concealer. Highlighting with a concealer, in this case a foundation, that is about 2 shades lighter than your skin tone will bring these areas forward, give the face a more oval look, adding dimension and sculpt. We all have a foundation that's too light for us, especially after summer, and using a foundation to highlight this T-zone that you know agrees with your skin and looks lighter weight than a concealer will look so much more natural. I'm somebody that can't handle concealer in these areas because it just looks way too cakey, but this foundation is so much lighter weight and gives me the exact same highlighted effect in the T-zone. Looks less makeupy, less cakey, and gives the exact same effect. 3 tips for getting your concealer to look lightweight, creaseless, and not cakey. Number 1 is start with a color corrector if you have darkness under the eye. This will do half the work for you, counterbalancing the blue darkness under the eye. Take a little bit and buff this out with a fluffy blending brush or your finger to really warm this up and melt it into the skin. Second, we all don't need to be painting concealer on our under eyes like we're getting ready for a drag show. This NYX Serum Concealer is the most gorgeous hydrating concealer I have ever used, especially for mature skin. Put a little bit on the back of your hands, dip in with your fluffy brush, and buff this out under the eye just in the places you need it. Tap it out with your finger to warm it into the skin, and avoid areas that are more mobile. Once everything is pressed out and blended with the finger, take a finely milled setting powder like the Yuma Beauty or the Huda Beauty powder. On a brush, tap off the excess and press this onto the concealer. Not only will this set the concealer flawlessly, but after a few minutes you can take that brush with no more powder on it and buff out the under eye to really make sure nothing is gonna crease. Blush should not be that hard or intimidating. Let me show you what blush placement is capable of doing. So this is a cream cushion blush from the Cream Shop. On the first side, I'm placing the blush more towards the center on the apple of the cheek, hugging underneath the eye and to the side of the nose. This is gonna make the face look wider and more round. I have a very long oval face shape, so this is actually my preferred application because it widens my face a bit. Now on the other side, I'm keeping the blush far back where we would almost put highlighter and contour and connecting it back onto the hairline, blending it down into our contour and up onto the cheekbone. This is gonna give the face much more lift and make the face look slimmer. Notice how on this side it makes everything look more round, and on this side it's making everything look much more lifted and long. If you have a more long oval face shape, this placement will benefit you. And if you have a more round face shape and want to elongate and get more of that oval shape, this side is your best bet.